This event is really in preparation to lead us and guide us into the next 6 months, where we have our conference in February, and then after that we have other events that we'll be putting on and we'll be talking about today. What we're going to do is do some team member introductions. Now, a lot of us know each other, but a lot of us don't know each other really well. So we're going to be doing 2 activities today, but this first one is basically kind of an introduction of yourself from maybe a historical or a personal level, but not necessarily a spiritual level. All right. Now, I asked everybody to send me 3 things about themselves that may be a little obscure, that maybe the guy next to you may not know. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to start, but we're going to go around the room and everybody's going to tell us a little bit about themselves, and try to, if you can remember those 3 things. Some of you wrote dissertations, all right? We don't need a dissertation. Just a few items. We got about 25 people here, so we've got about 30 or 40 minutes for this. So I'm Kyle. All right. So I'm at Good Shepherd Parish, and I've been a part of Catholic Brothers for Christ for 10 years plus. I have a wife that's a Colombian wife from New York that somehow I ran into a biker woman, but that's what she was, and she was a great girl. And we have 2 kids. One's a dentist, and one is in the United States Navy. And I've lived in Grapevine for 25 years, so I'm glad to be here, and it's a great event. So.
Well, Gus Perez. Anything else going to be second one? I'm glad to be here. I've been with Catholic Brothers for Christ maybe 8 or 10 years, but as a member of the leadership team, maybe for 4. I'm also the sponsorship lead. I'm a member of Most Blessed Sacrament in Arlington, Texas.
I was born and raised in Amarillo, Texas, and I was a Cub Scout, and we had a big event for the Scouts in Amarillo, and I won the pancake eating contest for 11 years. I remember that. It's funny. It was all downhill after that. No, actually, I married, came down here to go to finish college PTA, married a beautiful cradle Catholic, love of my life. Lost her 3.5 years ago after 42 years of marriage. But through her, not through her pressure, but through her inspiration, that's how I became Catholic, and that's why I'm here today, and I'm so happy. Thank you.
I've been on fire for the Lord. The Catholic Brothers Conference 15 years ago was I actually did the first one, got involved in the second one. And then after that, my wife pulled me by the bridle and took me here and there and everywhere else. So I've just been on fire for the Lord. Yes, I fall. Yes, I have walls that I run into. But the Lord is merciful, we heard today. The Lord is merciful, and He brings us back. So, that's me. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm a member of St. Francis of Assisi in Frisco. Been here since 2009. Actually, I came from Michigan. Was there for 30 years before moving here after my retirement. So I'm retired. I've been attending the conference, the CBFC conference, starting here as principals for 15 years. And part of the team since, 3 years after the conference started, so a while back, maybe 12 years now. So I have 3 children and 9 grandchildren. And 2 of them are here in Texas. That's the reason why we moved here from Michigan. And one of them is in Indianapolis.
See, member of Good Shepherd. Been Cradle Catholic. Been 41 years married to the same beautiful woman. We met at Texas A&M. We're both Aggies. We met in the student government office. She was Baptist, studying business. I was Catholic, studying physics. The only place our paths would cross was the student government office, so thank God for that. And she recognized me because I came in one winter morning with my high school letter jacket on, and she grew up 30 miles from where I grew up, and so she recognized my letter jacket and said, "Hey, you're from Hampshire, Finette." Of course. That's how it started. We started dating right away, and for 3.5 years we went to Baptist service and Catholic Mass in College Station every Sunday. And then when we got married in '84, we did the same thing after we moved to San Antonio, started working for IBM. And took 22 years of being married to me before she decided she was going to become a Catholic. So, all right. But thank God she did that in 2005, and so she's actually a better Catholic than I am, I'm sure. Never been blessed with kids, but we are 10 times aunt and uncle. I think we have 16 grandnieces and nephews now. All of them out of town, so we have to travel. So our vacation or trips for holidays are 1,200 miles of going from here to South Texas or Southeast Texas to see everybody. But I think I've been to every conference that we've had. I'm not sure, maybe I missed one or two, but I'm pretty sure I've been involved with most of the conferences. I've only been on the leadership team for a couple of years. I did help with the vendors last year, and things that Gus put together a good spreadsheet and kept everybody safe and everything. So looking forward to participating again this year. Looking forward to today. Get to have some of you that I don't know that well better, and I'll be with us. Thanks.
Here's a fact about me. I come from a family of 12 kids. I have 4 kids of my own, and I go to St. Mary the Virgin, the Ordinariate Parish, and just looking to get involved in, more involved in men's ministry. That's about it.
I'm Gary.
Yay!
I'm a member of St. Gabriel's Parish in McKinney. I've been a member of this group about 7 years. I've been married to Val for 44 years. We have one son who's a chemist and one grandson who's a kindergartner terrorist. He's as smart as Sheldon Cooper, The Big Bang Theory. No, that is. He's about as strong as Jonathan Bodine of the Beverly Hillbillies. Remember that show? And he's as devious as I am. So. I guess my biggest claim to fame for this group is I'm the guy who recruits priests to hear confessions.
Very important job.
So speaking of which, I do need one on business. I need to confirm the swag because I got to start recruiting soon. So I've been married to Val for 44 years. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri. Lived in Austin for 34 years. Moved up here to DFW in 2017. And I'm just here to wash feet.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm Ken. Three important issues that you might want to know about me. I have been married for 47 plus years. I met her at OU, and that's what allowed me to be here today is they have a pie day. So that's an important factor. Anyway, she is a cradle Catholic. As you'll hear later on, we couldn't have kids, but when we got married, we did get married in the Catholic Church. And you sign this waiver that if you have kids, you're going to raise them in the Catholic Church. Fortunately, we couldn't have kids, and that's a whole other ballgame there. We adopted 2 kids. And once we knew we had a little girl coming, I said, okay, time I become a Catholic. So that's over at St. Michael's. Many of you guys know Dorothy and Teresa, and they're the ones that put me through RCIA back then. So anyway, 47 years and we're still happy. I'm still happy. I don't know about her. A few years ago at church, they used to show movies. And we had these great bean bags in there, and I told Pam one Saturday night we're going to go watch a movie at church, and she goes, what? And anyway, we're there, and they showed the Way. I don't know if any of you have ever seen it. Yeah. I walked out of there, and I said, okay, first thing we're going to do when we retire, we're going to walk it. Yeah. So, 15 years later, we retired, and we went and walked it. So, 500 miles, and I tell you right now, there's not a man in here that can't do it. And it's probably going to be the best time of your life, in my personal opinion. So, third one is I am a Texas Master Certified Nurseman, not a horticulturist. So, that's it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jeremy. Jeremy. We're over at St. Philip, now in Flower Mound, not in Louisville any longer. A little disappointed in the fact that I have to actually drive to church instead of walk to church.
With kneelers.
With kneelers. With kneelers. With kneelers. So, and everybody faces that way, as opposed to looking at each other. Grew up on the south side of the Dallas County, so I'm a native Texan, cradle Catholic, married to Juanita 30 some odd years. I don't do the math very well, which is really sad because that's what my degree's in, is math. It's a good thing I'm not an accountant. Oh, wait. You are? Actually, in my teens, I worked with Father Forge back when he was just Forge, Michael Forge. We were back out at the Pines together long ago, so we really are the OG old guys of the Pines. So, but I've gotten involved. I went to that, was it Hearst? We had the conference center, went there, and more about that later. That's when I kind of got involved for several years, kind of stepped back as we're doing things in men's ministry over at St. Philip. But figured I'd come back over for a little bit of ambassador relationship training. So I'm Jeremy.
Cradle Catholic, it's really not about me. It's really all about my wife. She teaches religion in the Holy Trinity, and she's literally saving souls as we speak. What she's doing is rubbing off on our children the Catholic faith the way it's supposed to be, and they get it. And that's what's crazy. I go there and visit class for different things. I went and presented on the Shroud of Turin the other day, and they just blew me away. I mean, not blew me off. They blew me away because they were so smart. And of course, my wife would say, "You guys know this." I'd mention something. They go, "You guys know this," and they go, "Oh yeah." And, they'd throw it back out with dates and times and people and places. It was beautiful to watch. IBMer 21 years. I'm still in medical device sales 30 years. One day I get to retire. I'll never be able to walk the Camino, although I'd like to, because my body's totally worn out, but I'm Jim.
I've been going to the conferences from just about the beginning. At Good Shepherd, one of our parishioners had bought a ticket and couldn't attend, so he asked if anybody wanted to go, so I raised my hand and I went for that first one and told everybody how great it was, and then I came back and Rick was so inspired, he wanted to get involved too, so he get involved with the men's group and decided that he would head it up. And so we had our major one at here at Prince of Peace, and I noticed that you weren't videoing or photoing any of our events or any of the people that were involved. And so being a videographer and photographer, I pulled out my trusty cameras and started videotaping and photographing everybody. So I've been doing all the videos. I did the first websites, I did the social media, and basically have documented the history of our group and the march forward of the saints that are here involved, men that are willing to stand on the front lines in the battle against the forces of darkness, which we all know that we're experiencing in our own lives. If you stand up and do something for God, you know you're going to be a target. And so, I admire all the men that are here that have taken up the challenge to take up their crosses and follow in the footsteps of Jesus.
All right, I'll go next. I'm Rick. Rick! I'm not really sure what I'm going to say, but Holy Spirit comes and helps me. So I'm a Good Shepherd Catholic community. I've been there for 15 years. I have 3 children, a wife of 42 years. I think we're going on 43. I worked for Nabisco for 37 years, so I'm a cookie salesman. That's what I did. So how I became, how I got to this place, I don't know. I like boats. I have a boat, and I go on it as much as I can, go fishing or whatever. And you guys are welcome to go with me sometimes if you want. I like the movies Pirate of the Caribbean. I like pirates for some reason. I don't know why. I guess it has something to do with the boat. And let's see, what else was there? Oh, so one of the things that I did when my children were growing up, my 3 children, is I coached their baseball, softball, basketball, whatever. I really enjoyed coaching basketball, but that was a great way to be involved with my children at the time. But other than that, I wasn't really, the greatest Catholic dad of all time. They went to Catholic schools, but I didn't do any of my own until I was about 50 years old, but we'll get to that later. But anyway, that's it. I'm Rick.
Definitely new here, and probably the oddest one in this bunch.
What is that?
Things you should know about me. First and foremost, I am a man of my word. If I say it, I do it. It's that simple. I don't play games. I don't dance around the truth. I'm extremely blunt and straightforward. Most of the time this tends to intimidate people or make them feel like I don't like them. That is not it. This world is so confusing and I don't like to add to it by dancing or prancing around people's feelings. My wife is a cradle Catholic. We met 18 years ago, got married 16 years ago, and then remarried at St. Francis with a CC a few years ago. That's when I really started attending Catholic church. That's when I met Joey. He then hoodwinked me into doing my first Catholic men's conference at St. Anne Seton. And I was not prepared at all. But I still came. I brought my A game in. I had one of the most spiritual experiences I've ever had in my entire life. Hearing 2,000 plus men pray and speak as one, it shook something awake in me. And after prayer, I sought Joey out and I asked him to be my sponsor. And I'm currently going through OCIA at St. Francis, but probably will be transferring to St. Gabriel's for a number of reasons I'm not interested in talking about. Third and final, I'm a military brat. I was transplanted all over this world. I've been through a lot of rough things, and that led me to be a seeker of truth. I always try to pull the wool from people's eyes. I try to help them see what they don't. And unfortunately, it doesn't buy me a whole lot of friends. But my greatest joy in this world is to help people. Either I'm helping them out of the darkness, or I'm just simply being there for them in their dark times. I do what I can to protect those who can't protect themselves. I'll never know a greater joy than to help another.
I've been a member of the St. Jude's Parish Church for 4 years right now, and I've been with the Catholic Church for 14 years. And I have 3 adult children, and I think this is my first grandchild 2 weeks ago. 3 things about me. Number 1, I love to travel outside the U.S. I've been to 12 countries right now, including the one for Fatima and Lourdes in the last 2 weeks in April. That's really moved me around, seeing the Blessed Mother, in all those places where she appeared to the 3 shepherds, as well as to the St. Bernard. And I could not remember that those places in my life. And next week, I plan to travel with my younger brother to 8 different European countries as part of my maybe bucket list, okay? Second thing around me is that I volunteered as a serving dinner at the downtown Dallas homeless shelter for 3 years, once a month, prior to the pandemic. And that really reminds me about what Christ is about, seeing Him in this person. It really made me realize that we are here to serve, but not to be served. lastly, you won't believe this, but a year and a half ago, I took up playing ukulele as my hobby. You know?
Oh, wow.
And so right now, I play with the group seniors at the Allen Senior Center. We meet once a week and we play, and just for fun and camaraderie, you know. And then 3 months ago, I joined another ukulele group in Plano. And what we do is we practice every Sunday night and go to the different nursing homes once a month, and I enjoy that. That's all from me.
Came to the Brotherhood a handful of years ago from a personal invitation from a guy I work with. Invited me to the conference, so that was how I joined your group. Last couple of years, I served as an ambassador for Holy Spirit Catholic Church down in Duncanville, trying to recruit the folks down there. And last year, we successfully got a few of them to come up to the conference. So we've been down there about 10 years. I'm gonna hold off on my family story right now because that's the majority of the thunder from my other story that I gotta tell when that comes up. So I'll spare you all that right now. A couple nuggets that I can remember. I can't remember all three, but two of them. One of them was that I did serve over 30 years in the military. So y'all know that. And then the other trivia nugget was that I got my namesake was because I was born on Pope Paul VI's 70th birthday. Wow. That's how I got my name from my parents. So I'm Paul.
I grew up in Santa Clara Valley long before it was known as Silicon Valley. And like most deacons, had a secular vocation. I was an arson and fire investigator and fire prevention officer for the Santa Clara Fire Department. So if you ever watch a San Francisco 49ers home game, or you've been to or saw Super Bowl 50, I was there when they built the stadium and spent a lot of time in the stadium. After retiring from the fire service, God kept us there for a while, but green-lighted us to get out of there, so we came to Texas. I've been involved in Catholic Men's Fellowship of California for a number of years. So I've been involved in men's ministry, new to men's ministry here in North Texas. Beautiful thing is, not because we're here, but it turns out that we have 5 grown children, 10 grandchildren, and one son-in-law got a great job in Dallas, another one went to PA school and is a physician assistant. So most of our kids and grandkids live here in North Texas, so that's a great blessing for us. And I serve at St. Basil the Great, Byzantine Catholic Church, the Greek Catholic Parish in Irving.
I guess I'll start out. I've just had our 30th anniversary, my wife and I. Not blessed with children, I'm sorry to say, but a lot of fur babies. And spent 20 years in the military. I was in the Naval Submarine Service from 77 to 97. And since that time, I've retired actually from 3 different jobs. Currently, I'm a firearms instructor, and we spend half the year in Maine and half the year down here in Texas. So I do training classes between the two areas. But I'm also an inventor, so I've invented a lot of products over the years for a lot of different companies, some in retail, some in medical, some in semiconductor. So that's kind of, sort of my passion. And I figure I'll get into the spiritual nature of things in the next segment and how all that came to be. But I truly love being a part of this organization. It actually led me to joining Knights of Columbus. I'm also a guardian, both here in Texas as well as in the parish that I belong to up in New Hampshire as well. So I really enjoy that aspect of things. So that's me.
Basically, I've been around the world, kind of. Born in the Philippines, moved over to Toronto, Canada, because we were running away from President Marcos at that time, and then got married, and then went 1996 here in Dallas, Texas, right? And God blessed me with 32 years of marriage, and then last year he decided that it's time for me to do something else, so we got a divorce. And then basically, the only thing, and I really wish you guys will make sure you balance your life properly, right? The only thing that she told me that she didn't, the reason for the divorce is because I became too religious. But I don't think so. But anyway, that's what it is, and I've been involved, right, with this organization, right? I went to my first one right here 15 years ago, right? And after that, I said, wow, I gotta join this. I gotta join this group. So 3 years after that, I became ambassador, right? And then 11 years ago, that's when they took me in, pity, I guess, or I don't know, to be the registrations prime. So that's what I've been doing. And again, to me, the inspiration for me to keep doing this every year is because at registrations, when you see the men early in the morning coming in, they look so grumpy and said, why is my wife got me into this stuff? All this stuff. And then after the day's gone, they're all coming out smiling and crying. I mean, that's when I feel that, wow, man, thank God, Holy Spirit, you're in there.
I'm not a cradle Catholic. I was raised Protestant, but I did marry a cradle Catholic, Pat, and we've been married 55 years now. And we have 3 kids. They all live within 5 miles, and I have 4 grandkids, which all live within 5 miles. So I see them quite often. So Pat brought me into the church many years ago, and I've become pretty active in Knights of Columbus, which I've been a member for over 40 years. And also at our church men's club. And during the church, I was church 11, I don't know, about 10 years ago in our parish. I got involved with the ministries, so I'm a sacristan at the church now. So things you might not know about me, as a young man, I'm an Eagle Scout, and I was in Vietnam for 1.5 years, and love John Wayne movies. I'm Denny.
Proud parishioner here at Prince of Peace, almost 25 years. So it was 16 years ago. The space doesn't look like it did 15 years ago, as you guys will see. But it was Discipleship Sunday, and Father Roberto said, I want you all to pray big. Pray for something that's crazy. Pray for something that you're not even sure what you're praying about. And having just gone through Christ Renews His Parish, and I later served on 8 different church teams here in all roles, I said, okay, pray big, pray for something crazy, pray for something weird. I said, Lord, introduce me to a men's ministry group where I will eventually interact with men from more than 100 churches throughout North Texas. That was a year before Catholic Brothers for Christ even started. We were back then sort of called North Texas Catholic Brothers for Christ. And so from being in the narthex and offering that prayer, be careful what you pray for. Because I am interacting with men from over 100 churches throughout North Texas. My wife Wendy and I have been married 31 years. We have 2 adult daughters. Both are graduates from college. One's studying in grad school to be a speech pathologist. And our other daughter was married just 7 months ago to an awesome young Catholic man who, probably been praying for him to appear 10 years before that. And then poof, he just appeared, right? Just appeared. I wrote down 3 fun facts because they're a little bit off the beat and random. The first one is that I once rode the Madden Cruiser, that bus, with Coach Madden, who was the NFL Hall of Fame coach. I rode on that bus with him and just his driver, Willie Yarborough. It's just the 3 of us, from Los Angeles to his home in San Francisco. And we chunked the football and we talked, and I was probably 25. And after I talked with Coach, he made a comment to me. He said, I've done a lot of interviews on this bus. He said, you asked me the best questions I've ever been asked in an interview. And I was like, really? And it just instilled in me my profession was the right choice. So I've been a career journalist in a corporate agency and now nonprofit public relations person for 37 years. I'm currently the head of communications at the Catholic Foundation. which grants out funds to churches, schools, and nonprofits. Most are Catholic, but not all are Catholic. And what a cool place to be where you pray before all your team meetings, because I certainly didn't do that at Verizon for 20 years. The second fun fact, I have sat next to President George W. Bush and Nolan Ryan at Texas Ranger games. And in 2016, I was selected by the club as their Fan of the Year. So I'm the 2016 Texas Ranger Fan of the Year. And it had more to do with the stories that I wrote and they were reading. And it talked a lot about my dad. And that'll be something more later on in History, Faith, and Sharing. But how my dad instilled in me faith and patriotism. Monday, U.S. Marine Corps birthday on Monday, that's his birthday. He would have been 100 this coming Monday. So we pray for his soul. He was on Iwo Jima when they planted the flag on Mount Suribachi. And he saw the flag flying, and I'm like, so whenever I see a flag, it's attention. And I want to bring up a point that at the very first Catholic Men's Conference we had here, because I've been involved from day one, I brought my dad, he was then 83, and it was time for the rosary. You now see we have kneelers in the new sanctuary. Before, we didn't. And my dad being 83, and I said, hey Dad, you can just sit here on the wicker chair and do the rosary. My dad being a Marine Drill Corps sergeant, he was sitting here, I'm here, and his quote was, "It's the rosary, son, we kneel." And I said, yes sir. Boom. And I hit the deck, and I'm kneeling with my dad, and I'm like, if my dad's kneeling at 83 for the rosary, by God, that's what I need to